We are going to begin creating the pieces for our abstract portrait inspired by Pablo Picasso. So we are going to kind of break our person down into their facial features. So we have eyes, nose, mouth, ears, eyebrows, things kind of like that. So what you're going to do is you're going to get at least 3 different smaller pieces of paper. So 3 is kind of the minimum, but if you want to do more than 3, you can, but start with at least 3. You're going to use a special kind of crayon called construction paper crayons. They will show up really, really brightly on darker colored paper. So even if I'm drawing on black, for example, the white will still show up, the colors will still look nice and bright. Whatever you're going to be drawing, you want to think about making sure that it's big and that it's also done as neatly as it can be. That way it looks really nice and put together when you're finished. So I'm looking at some of the different features that I created last time, and I'm going to pick out 2 of the eyes for my final eyes. If you want to do 2 that are the same, you can, or you can do 2 different ones. So I might do this kind of cool looking swirly eye, and then I think I'm going to do just kind of like a regular eye. So I'm going to work on those. So I'm going to do my swirl here on the black paper. I'm going to use the white construction paper crayon to draw the swirl part. This is where it's important to make sure that what you're doing and that you're pushing down hard with the crayon. Not so hard that you're breaking it into pieces, but if I just push like this, that's not bad, but if I push a little bit harder and maybe go over the line a couple times, I get a much darker and much more visible line that's easier to see. So I am pushing down fairly hard, and I'm kind of going back and around to make that line a little bit thicker. Sometimes a thicker line is a better line. So there's kind of just the swirl part. And then I'm going to just use maybe a different color for the eyelashes. And again, this is abstract. They don't have to be a real color. So I might make my eyelashes blue. So I'm just going to actually extend this line down a little bit further. There we go. And then I'll add my eyelashes on. And I could even do a pattern if I wanted to. And again, pushing down nice and dark works better. If I just push kind of light or kind of soft, it looks like that. You want it to look nice and bright. So push down hard and maybe even go over that line a couple of times, over and over again. And like I said, I might even go back with a second color and add in just kind of a pattern. So maybe I'll do like a shorter green eyelash in the middle, and again, kind of pushing in hard. And notice how big my eye is. It takes up a really big part of the paper. Bigger is better in this case. So there's one. I'm now going to do this eye. A lot of times if you're doing a closed shape like this eye is, it works really well to have kind of one color that you outline everything with, and then you color in the sections a little bit differently. It's important to make it big. So if I do my eye starting out like that, and that's my eye, that's not big enough. Look at how much paper's left. So I'm actually going to even color that in and make that maybe the middle part of the eye. And again, I'm pushing down hard. The harder you push, the brighter and the more solid your color will be. So maybe I'll do kind of, that's the middle part of the eye. And then I also might kind of outline it now to make it really big. And I'm going over that line multiple times to make it nice and solid and dark. Okay. I might even decide that I want to use, let's see, I think I'll use gray just to kind of go back over the middle part of the eye, pushing down kind of hard. And then I could even color in the eye, the middle part with like a green. It doesn't have to stay blue. Pushing down nice and hard. And then when I do the eyelashes again, maybe I do purple, but maybe I do a different color. Maybe I'll do just kind of a nice kind of pink color. For the eyes. So now I have this one, And I have this one. They're not the same, but they look really, really bright on the paper, and they're drawn really nice and big. I'm going to keep working on my other facial features until I have however many it is that I want to use for my final. So I have 2 eyes. I might not need a nose, but if I do want to do a nose, I can do one. A mouth, maybe even an ear or an eyebrow or 2. So I'm going to work on those 2. Once you have your facial features drawn onto your smaller pieces, you need to create the head or the face that your facial features will go inside of. It's very important that when you do this, you make your face big. If your head is too small, then these pieces won't fit inside, so it's got to take up almost the entire paper. Now, keeping in mind that we are doing an abstract portrait, it does not need to look like a regular head shape. It could be an oval. It could be a triangle, it could be a rectangle, it could be kind of a blob shape. So really any shape is fine. It's really up to you. As long as it's big, any shape will do. So let's say that I'm going to use the crayon that I've given you, and I'm going to draw my head. Okay, oops, that's not big enough. So that's too small. I can only fit like one eye and nothing else in there. If I make a mistake, I can just flip it over and use the other side. So again, try and draw that first shape nice and big. And I do want to push down kind of hard. So it's not really a perfect oval, and again, it's abstract, it doesn't really matter. Now that I've made that face, I'm going to take my black crayon and go back and really kind of push a little bit harder over the line that I drew to make that line really, really dark and almost in completely solid black. So make sure you take the time to push back and make that line as black and as dark as you can make it. Now right now our head is floating. We don't want a floating head. So I'm going to draw kind of like a curved line coming down, again dark, and a curved line coming down over here. That's going to be the neck. I'll connect the neck with kind of a curved line up. And then to make the shoulders, you just draw kind of a curved line all the way off to the edge of your paper. And again, making sure that it is dark and solid. The final thing will be to divide your face into kind of 2 halves. So if you want to, you can just do a line that's kind of diagonal. You can do a line that goes straight down the middle. You can even do a line that kind of looks like a profile face where it's looking at the side, where you draw kind of like a nose and then 2 bumps for the lip. So really it's up to you. I'm going to draw a line. There's my nose. 2 bumps for the lip. And then it kind of just joins down with the rest of the head. So again, however you decide to divide your face in half is totally up to you, but it does need to be a dark, solid black line. The last thing I'll think about is hair. If you want hair, I would make your hair into a shape. So that instead of just like 1 or 2 little strands of hair, I want to think about how can I turn it into a shape. So you could do it like where you're doing half and half, where it's maybe half of a hairstyle on one side and half a different hairstyle on the other side. Either one's fine. I might do kind of like a longer hairstyle, so maybe I'll do kind of just like a longer shape coming down and ending back into the other side. And again, making that line as dark as I can. And then perhaps on the other side I might do the same type of hairstyle, or maybe I make it more abstract and do something totally different on this side. So maybe instead on this side I might do like spikes, spiky hairdo. Okay. And again, nice and dark. Now that I'm done with this, I can turn my name or my paper over and put my name on the back. It's okay if you have something else back there, you can just write your name right in the middle. I now want to take the pieces that I made. It would look kind of cool to glue them on just as they are, but I think that sometimes the rectangle shape almost takes up too much of the picture and you can't really see the face behind it. So I'm going to cut these down a little bit. I don't want to cut actually on my crayon line. I want to leave a little bit of space between my scissors and the crayon line. So I'm going to leave a little kind of border of pink So I'm cutting the general shape of the ear, but I'm not cutting on my crayon line. So don't cut your crayon line off, kind of cut a little bit beside your crayon line. So there's one of my ears. I still have a little bit of pink on the outside of my crayon line, and now that fits a little bit better into my face. Now that I have my facial features cut out, the question is, where do I want to put them and how do I want to arrange them? Keeping in mind, this is abstract, so I don't have to make the eyes go in exactly the right spots. Maybe I have one that I twist sideways, maybe one's a little bit crooked, perhaps this eyebrow's kind of maybe not exactly in the same space. Maybe the mouth's a little bit crooked, and I only have one ear instead of two. So I would glue it together so that you still know it's supposed to be a face. If it's all just like mixed up, you can't really tell what that is. So you do want it to still be recognizable, but it's okay to kind of make slight little changes that make it a little bit more abstract. Maybe I put it upside down over here. I think I put it over here. Once you have everything looking really good, you'll take your glue stick and you'll glue all the facial features down. Once you have all your facial features glued down, the last thing is to kind of finalize your design by going back and coloring some sections in. You do not have to color in every single section, but I would advise that you color in at least a couple. So perhaps I color in this hair shape, or maybe I color in this half of the face and then maybe the shirt. You can color it in just one solid color, or if you want to do patterns, that's fine too. So maybe instead of just doing solid color hair, I maybe do big kind of thicker stripes. Whatever you do, you want to make sure that you're pushing down hard so you have a nice, bright, bold color, and you want to make sure you do it neatly. If your coloring looks really scratchy, it makes it more distracting from looking at the other features. So whatever you're going to do, push down nice and hard, make those colors nice and bright, and do whatever you're doing as neatly as you can.